All right, it's Friday time, CFM, and again, this is an opportunity today to either deload or if you would like to tune it up a little bit, go heavier on the deadlifts, but we are absolutely focusing on body position on the deadlifts as we go through that. I'll explain that more as we get to the workout. Begin with 3 minutes or so of your choice warm-up pace cardio, and then we're gonna do a little bit of body weight and lower extremity resilience training. So the heel toe rock we'll start with, and then we're gonna go into our bounding tuck jumps. And the bounding tuck jump could be an extremely explosive, extremely aggressive movement, or it could be just barely more than a pogo hop. But I would like for you at the top of the hop to try to bend your knees a little bit, to pull your knees up and then aggressively push them back down in time to catch the bounce of your calf, ankle, and Achilles. So as I bounce higher, 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 I can start to pull my knees, but I've got to put my feet back down in order to maintain the resilience and the springiness of that movement, okay? So emphasis is on springiness. Secondary importance is on how high the bounce is, okay? Drinking bird, 10 reps on each side. And don't belabor these. Again, I see a lot of people taking a long time on 1 rep, right? I would count that as 3 or 4, right? The goal of the drinking bird is just a nice, quick, dynamic hamstring stretch. Next one is gonna be our step back swivels. So this is a little bit of balance, a little bit of nervous system, but a lot of thoracic spine opening if we do it right. So starting from my universal athletic stance, I'm stepping back and crossing over the line of the leading foot or the front foot, and then I'm going to rotate down into a lunge position facing the back of the room, and then rotate back up and start exactly where I stop exactly where I started, right? So if you need to make little marks on the floor with chalk for your feet, that is totally fine. Your pivot foot should not move. The other foot should only have 2 positions, right? It's either right here in line in the universal athletic position, or it is back here in my lunge stance, right? And that is the basic version of it where I finish facing away. The more advanced version of it is going all the way around and facing back towards where I started and then rotating back around to where I began, okay? So get 5 reps of that in each direction. Take your time on that, practice the balance. Make sure you've got good foot position, both on the starting and the finishing position, because that makes or breaks the balance and the base of your body when you do that, okay? Next, we're gonna get Cossack hold, right? So this is the same movement as the Cossack squat, but we're just gonna hold in that bottom position, and you feel free to use support in order to get into the best possible position that you can here. But think this leg that's bent, I want your hamstring resting on your calf at the bottom, right? And usually that's not the fault of the knee. If you can't get there, it's the fault of the hips. So that's really what we're doing here, is stretching out the hips and try to use whatever support you need to use from the rig, or if you want a counterweight or something, you can do that. But both feet should be, or both heels should stay on the ground, and the leg that's bent, that foot should be completely flat on the ground, right? Next, we're gonna go through the warm-up sequence of the deadlift. So this is a 3+3. We've done this sequence before. It's called a halting deadlift followed by the full range of motion. We're gonna start from the normal grounded position of the deadlift. We're gonna go up to the middle of the kneecap and then back down to the ground. And the main focus here is that the angle that my back makes relative to the ground should stay the same as I go from the shins to the knees. And then on the 4th rep, I'll go all the way up, maintaining that same good position that I drilled on the first 3, okay? So the phases of the movement of the deadlift can be subdivided into below the knees and above the knees, right? And while the bar is below the knees, the major muscle action should be opening the knee joint, all right? From the knees up to the hip, the major muscle action should be opening the hip joint, okay? So hips, knees, knees, hips, all right? And that is how we can think about the deadlift. And this is a movement, this is a exercise sequence that will make your first pull stronger if you can practice that good back position, maintaining a good back angle, a good steady back angle from the ground to the knees, all right? Into the workout, we're gonna do that starting at about 40%. We're gonna do that sequence of 3+3, and then go into our the remainder of our accessory movements. So next one will be 12 reps of a hammer curl, either with a band or with a pair of dumbbells. And hammer just means that my knuckles stay facing each other the whole time. You don't have to curl or twist or do anything. Just keep your hands straight in line, just like you're swinging a hammer. And then we have a kettlebell complex, starting with 4 reps on each side of a kettlebell push press. So from the knuckles under the chin position, make sure we're not up here with that kettlebell, right? This takes a lot out of the range of motion of the kettlebell or of the push press. So I basically just have to extend my arm and then I can set it right back down on top of my shoulder. I get a lot more movement and a lot more stability from this position with my knuckles in front of my chin like that. All right, after my 4 reps on each side of the single arm push press, then I go to 8 reps of a single arm swing, and we're just gonna do Russian swings with this. So 8 on the right, 8 on the left. When I finish all of those, I'm gonna take the kettlebell to the goblet position, and I'm doing 32 reps of a high knee march, right? Keep the abs nice and tight. If you can, like, see if you can touch your knee to the kettlebell held up in front of you. Don't hit it hard, but this is more than just like picking up my feet. I want you to try to get your knee up to your chest if you can, while you're keeping your core nice and tight. So 32 steps or 16 on each leg, right? Alternating left, right, left, right. That is it for the workout for today. Hope you guys have a great one, and I'll see you for a little benchmark action tomorrow.